Well, definitely different to be playing in February, but it's all been good. We got back in, got started, in January, and just excited. I think our guys are ready to play somebody else. We've been practicing for a while, and just all the practice time that you had in the fall with the 4 games, and just really blessed to be able to play in those 4 games. I think really helped us, and you did have the long layoff after that till we got back to January, started back, but I think we're in a good spot. I mean, our team's done really well and handled all the normalcy of 2020 and the start of 2021. So it's been good so far, and just looking forward to playing. And believe it or not, until this week, have had really pretty pleasant weather, to practice in. So it's not been bad. We've had our share of 65, 70-degree days, and then we've had some cooler days. But, this week is a little bit different. Now, I guess we could be practicing a little further up north. It'd be really difficult this week, right? So we're looking forward to getting up. And I'm glad the game's not in Nashville the next couple of days, because we have probably trouble playing the game. So I think it's supposed to be a pretty weekend up there, warmer weekend. So, hopefully everything will go well with that.
Coach Christina Chambers here with Fox 6. I hope you're doing well. I just, you talk about the weather. Just, it's been crazy this week, like you said. Just how are you guys prepping this week, especially today, maybe tomorrow, heading into the game this weekend?
Well, Christina, indoor would be really nice at this point. It'd be helpful. Any other time we're glad to get outside, and we've actually practiced in a little bit of rain. We've practiced with it cooler, wind blowing. So getting out in it, we may play a game, like the weather today. So I think it's good for us to get out and just handle the elements. It don't mean it's going to be too pleasant getting out and practicing it today. But our guys' mindset has been pretty good there. Most of the time our guys' mindset, they'd rather it be, 90 degrees in practicing than they would it be cold. But kind of handled it, I think, really well since we got back in January and getting out in it. And like I said, this is the first, I think, kind of tough week we've had. It's been cooler and the wind's what makes the difference. I mean, if the wind is, it can be high 30s or low 40s. If the wind's not blowing, it's pretty pleasant. If you got a 10-mile-an-hour plus wind, it makes it difficult. And I think that's the weather this weekend. It's going to be, up in the 40s in Nashville, but they got a 10 to 15-mile-an-hour wind that's going to be blowing. So that's difficult to, contend with.
John, Michael's going to be on here in a second. He didn't play offense much in high school. I think he was a defensive end. And what did you see in him, that could be all we see offensive line?
Well, we recruit. A lot of times we project kids at another position, just frame-wise, and he was really, like you said, a defensive end, tight end in high school. So he had never, and I think it took him a while to kind of get the skills of an offensive lineman. And but we saw his frame and how well he moved, and knew, that he would be a really good tackle for us. And I think we recruited him, projected him there, and he knew that kind of coming in, and it took a while for him to adapt to that, and gain a little bit of strength and size to make him be able to play there. But he's played, he started playing early. It's like he took to it really well and quickly. But it's really came into his own this last year for sure. And but I said, just projected another position. I think it kind of helps us, and we've done that from time to time. Oh, I think, Joe, I can't hear you. There you go. I got you now, yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think anytime you come off ACL surgery, it's kind of tough, and he had done that at the end of the year before, and just getting him back ready to play, I think the time really did help. I think he would have had a hard time playing, at the end of August, 1st of September, and we didn't play till later on. It kind of gave him time to kind of adapt to, getting out of that surgery and playing. And I think he's, 100% now, and like I said, he's doing really well. But I do think that did benefit him, because normally, you can get a guy back, in 7 or 8 months, realistically, pretty easy. But are they fully recovered? No. Usually the table I see is usually a year to 15 months, to where they're playing back at 100%. Now they can play at 85 or 90 coming out in 7 or 8 months, but it's tough. And if you ask him about his knee, he has his days where he can tell us if it's going to rain the next day. So it's a little different after you have that surgery. But he's doing really well with it and done great with his surgery and his rehab. But like I said, I think that's a good point. It did make a difference. I think the timetable of how we were able to handle even practice early, because we went hard at the 1st of August preparing to play, and then we got pushed back and didn't get to play. And he went through some times of scrimmages there where he was even wondering himself, I think, if he was ready. And then I think that kind of helped him get over that. And a lot of times coming out of that knee surgery, it's really confidence that thing's okay again. And I think he was able to build that through the way we navigated through the fall. Well, I mean, he talked to him before. He's got a great personality, and I think he G-halls with everybody on our team. He can go hang out with any guy on our team and be at home and then be comfortable around him, and just brings a positive energy, with him every day. Like he's a free spirit now. You may see, well, y'all be disappointed. He's cut his mullet off. He's seen today, so he's gotten a haircut. He don't have his mullet anymore. So it was kind of his identity through the fall. So he's going somewhere different with it. I don't know if he's going to go baldy or what he's going to do with it. He'll have to answer that when he gets up here. But yeah, I do think his leadership, really comes from that personality, because he affects the people around him in a positive way, and you don't see him have many bad days, and that's a great thing. He is, yes. He is well and doing good, and looking for great things from him this spring, and had a good fall. The year before he had shoulder surgery, and kind of played through a fall where he was hurt and then had the surgery and kind of got back and got over that. Another one, I think, of what Joe made the point of a minute ago, of the extended time in the fall kind of helped. I think that kind of helped him, because he would run into some soreness problems shoulder wise from throwing in practice, and kind of got through all that stuff, and he's just navigating the offense and running the offense really well right now.
Didn't he have a leg injury in the fall?
He did. He had a little meniscus deal in the fall, which he's fully back over that. And actually, he played that last game, the whole game, with a hurt knee. He wasn't going to dress out, that week. And then he went ahead and dressed out, played with a knee brace on, and was able to do what he did in that game with a hurt knee. And he's fully back over that. He had a little MCL sprain going into that game.
How do you handle scouting for a game like this where Tennessee State hasn't played in so long?
Yeah, your tape's almost 2 years old. It's a good year and a half old, where you go back and you watch that tape, and it's your personnel's hard to tell, because you don't, there'll be a different roster, a different team. Now you do look on there and go, well, I'm glad that guy's gone. I'm glad this one's gone. So they did lose a few guys, or key guys, but they had a young football team, so they got a majority of those guys back, and they've added to that roster as well. And Tennessee State's always a talented team. Coach reading them, they do a great job recruiting and well coached. But it's hard to kind of look back at that tape and get really of an idea of what they're going to do schematically even, but definitely, personnel-wise, you have no idea. So this first game, I think advantage for them that they get 4 games on us from the fall and get to see our team. But then after we play this first one going into the next games, I think, everybody will have fresh tape on everybody, But I wouldn't replace that from playing those 4 games in the fall. I think playing the 4 games in the fall really has helped us identify and figure out our team and be ready to play.
Coach, does this year feel like Ryan Hennessy, NBC 13? Does this year feel like it's just like you had a season and then usually maybe go through exit interviews, but yeah, wait a minute, this is the same team? How weird is this year, you guys taking that break?
Yeah, just different. I mean, and I I think one of the things we've had to deal with too is getting used to not seeing our players for lengths of time. You take, from the shutdown in March, the months that we did not get to see our guys, and depending on them training themselves, them finding a place to work out was difficult. After Thanksgiving this year, we don't see them for 2 months almost to get them back in January. So I think, not getting to see them as much and having a true all season. Because I said if he's a negative about playing in the spring, that's it. You're losing all season. And for, our redshirt freshmen, sophomores, that they losing now their second all season. Our incoming freshmen losing all season. So it's kind of difficult when you lose that time with them that is a true all season. But and I think just getting them replenished and ready to play a season. Now I think you got a lot of people that are just gung-ho, excited about playing. And, as we are, we're ready to play too, ready to play somebody else. But as you get to the end of this spring season, you'll start thinking about getting these guys recovered and mentally and physically ready to play again in the fall, which is not an easy task. I mean, I think none of us have ever been here before. So there's no blueprint on how we've handled a pandemic. There's no blueprint on how we're handling a spring season. And so you just kind of, doing what you feel like is best at that time, for your team to move them forward and kind of deal with it as you go and adapt and overcome. That's about all you can do. But I feel like, our team has grown from this in a lot of different ways. And like I said, just looking forward to playing.
Anything else, Coach? One last thing. How'd your visit with Sports Illustrated go yesterday?
Well, it's today, actually. They're in today, and he's spending some time with us. So here's an old friend of yours. So it's good, Mark. We're looking forward to that publicity and getting that story out there. And I think it's going to be a unique story as well. So just really enjoying that.
Junior offensive lineman Michael Shaddix. Can you just kind of talk about how it feels to be going into games week this week?
It's exciting because, after the fall season, we left off on a high note. And, we're really looking forward to carrying that momentum into this season. This is going to be our last year in the OVC, and we want to go out with a bang in the ring. We want to leave out on a high note.
Michael and Joe Medley, what happened with the mullet?
I don't know. It was so we were over break. It was I don't remember what day it was, but I told my mom, I said, if it's long enough to donate, let's do it. So we went to one of her friends, and she put it in a braid, and it wasn't long enough. It has to be, if it's in layers, you can't donate. It all has to be one length. But at that point, I was already committed to cutting it off, so we went with it. I don't know. It was just time for something different. I had it for almost a year and a half, 2 years. So I just figured something else.
Is this closer to what it was before you grew a mullet? Different.
So I had a real bad haircut when I came in as a freshman, like really bad. Bad enough to where the coaches were like, you got to cut that, like it's bad. And so I just buzzed my whole head off, and then I just grew my hair out. And so I had hair probably down to my shoulder, and then I cut that into a mullet. I donated, when it was down to my shoulder, I donated what I could, and then I started the mullet look.
Tell us the story about how you wound up not just at JSU, but as an offensive lineman when you played defense in high school.
That's a funny story. So it was my senior year of high school, and Coach Revis and Coach Ogle, they were talking to me and everything, and I was getting looked at by a school up in Ohio, Lake Erie, and they offered me my senior year of high school. But during my senior year, the coaching staff got completely fired, so I didn't even know if my offer still stood. But I didn't tell nobody here that, because I was like, I need to get my foot in the door. I need to because I've known about this school because my parents went here and everything. So I ended up, I came on an official visit, and they were like, we want to make you an offensive lineman. I was like, at this point, I just wanted to keep playing. I didn't care what I played. Like, I knew all I needed to do was just get my foot in the door. And, they were like, we want to make you an offensive lineman. I was like, hey, I'm here for it. Like, I'll do whatever it takes to keep playing at the next level, you know.
And then, we're talking about having a spring football game season, which is, part of the different reality that is this COVID situation. And how much did the different timetable help you in terms of coming back from your knee injury?
It helped a lot, you know. I think a normal ACL, like a full recovery, is like 18 months, you know, but you can get cleared in like 6. But for me, I think it took me like 7 or 8 to get cleared. But, you know, in the fall, we didn't play right away. I think we waited till like October, the first week of October to play, and that really helped me out to gain confidence in my knee, you know, because at first, like, we were practicing, I was just having pain with it and just trouble, and, you know, it was difficult on me, like, personally, just because, like, I was busting my butt trying to, like, rehab it and get back, because, you know, I was coming off a really good season and being all conference, and I wanted to get back to that level, and it was just frustrating for me because I wasn't able to compete at that same level. And then, you know, we finish out those 4 games, and then I get like a month and a half to really like recover and like just rehab it, and I did, and it's a lot better now. Like, it's almost at 100%, if not 100%.
Just kind of talk about you in practice this week. I mean, with the snow and just the crazy weather. I mean, this is kind of what a spring season is. One day it can be snowing and cold, and the next day it can be 60 and sunny. Just, you know, mentally, how has practice been this week for you guys? And have you kind of prepped yourself like, hey, we could play in conditions like this?
Yeah, I mean, it is Alabama. You never know. One day it could be snowing, the next day it could be 75 and sunny. But, you know, yesterday it was pouring rain. You know, we had to go to a gym practice because of the weather, and today it's snowing right now. I'm not sure what practice it's going to be like today, but, you know, it is what it is. We're just excited to play for real.
Jeremiah, if you could just open us up, talk about your thoughts about going into a game this week.
We're excited, you know, to be the first team to ever, you know, just play in the spring and then turn around to play in the fall. So it's going to be exciting to see how everything's going to turn out. We're just ready to play.
Questions for Jeremiah?
Jeremiah, what has it been like for you and your teammates having such a long break, about a 3-month break between your last game and now?
We kind of see it as like a mini off season. You know, we try to take advantage of every day, you know, the best way we can. You know, try to do extra work and try to stay in grind mode and stay in shape. So we try to take advantage of every day as much as we can.
Jeremiah, Michael was just on. First of all, how different is it seeing him not with a mullet? And second of all, can you just kind of speak to his personality within the team and what he's like?
Oh, Michael, he lights up a room every time he walk in. You know, he's a big goofball. You know, he makes everybody laugh. You know, he just a great leader. You know, all the younger offensive linemen, they look up to him. You know, he tries his best to lead them down the right path as much as he can. And as a team, you know, we look at him as a great leader. So he's a great guy.
And the mullet situation, how different is that? Just seeing him with a different haircut now.
Oh, it's very weird. You know, I'm used to seeing him with the mullet, and all of a sudden he walked in the field house one day. I was like, I ain't noticed who he was at first because I'm used to seeing the mullet. So he walked in, and I didn't see the mullet. I was like, who is he? And then I was like, that's Michael. I said, oh, wow, he cut his hair. So it was very funny at the time.
How have you guys kind of handled practice this week, just with the crazy weather conditions? One day it's snowing, and the next it's raining, and then, you know, I guess, is this kind of practicing in this weather, does it kind of prep you for what you could experience, you know, the rest of the season, knowing that, hey, this is a spring season and the weather can be unpredictable?
Like Michael said, the Alabama weather is crazy. One day it's hot and the next day it's cold, so you never know what to expect. So we don't know whether bring our warm clothes to the game or bring less clothes to the game. So we just try to we'll adapt to everything. You know, it's hard to adapt when the weather is hot one day and cold one day.
Jeremiah, can you talk about your journey a little bit coming in as a walk-on here and then
Oh, it means a lot, you know, to show people out there that's like going through what I went through, you know, never give up on your dreams, you know, just keep pushing, you know. God got a plan for you. Just keep working and just stay on your knees and keep praying to Him, and He will lead you down the right path. You know, that's what I did. You know, I had a lot of doubters out there saying that I couldn't do the things that I'm doing now. So I just had to prove them wrong and just keep playing ball and just be the guy that I know I am.
Jeremiah, how much of an advantage was it for you guys to have played 4 games in the fall?
Oh, it was a big advantage. You know, we get to see like where we at. You know, the teams that didn't play in the fall, they got to find themselves in the spring. So we kind of know where we at right now, like with depth chart and all this. And you know, we know what kind of team we are. So it's a big advantage. We can just go out and just play ball and dominate.
And to especially end the fall season like you did, how much of a lift was that?
Oh, it was a big lift, you know, beating the FBS school, you know, that right there just gave us a bit momentum, you know, to just come out in the spring and try to dominate every team that we play.
And you look at the poll and you guys are outside the rankings. You're in the others receiving votes, and that's not a place that JSU is accustomed to being in. How motivated are you guys to get back up there high in the rankings again?
Oh, it's very motivating, you know. Like you said, you know, JSU used to being, you know, ranked like in the top 5, you know, so and with us not being ranked in the top 5 right now, it's only like just firing us up to go out and just play ball and dominate and try to get back up in the rankings.